This will be the only training course you'll ever need to watch on how to get into high-ticket sales. It is everything condensed down to just over an hour of jam-packed information. We have a setter crash course, a closer crash course, and everything you need to know about the belief psychology behind how to actually make a sale and be successful in the high-ticket space. If you want to break into the high-ticket space, you need to know the information that I'm going to talk about in this video. Stay all the way to the end to watch the full closer training as well. Now, with that being said, my name is Jonathan, and I've spent over 5 years selling items door to door, cars, more expensive stuff, flipping land, and then most importantly, over the past 2 years, mastering remote high-ticket sales. I closed over $5 million online, selling for coaches and consultants, and I have personally made over $500,000 in those 2 years with commissions. So with that being said, I know what the heck I'm talking about. So let's go ahead and jump into it. And I'm going to show you step by step in the next 70 minutes exactly what you need to know to get into this industry and be hyper successful. I'm super happy you guys are here. If you guys are enjoying this video thus far, the only thing I would ask is that you leave a like, you leave a comment down below of what you're currently doing for work and why you'd want to get into high ticket sales. Let's connect and I can see if I can help you out. All right, let's jump in. So how do people actually buy? That's what we're going to go through today. So there's a certain thing in sales, especially if you're getting started out, that many people think, oh, well, it's the product that they're buying. And that is true to a certain degree, but there's a certain system and way that people judge in their mind how they're going to buy something. And it's our job to hit on that main point and really bring them in. That's how we reel them in, to get them to buy our service. So what people do not buy is not this. So people do not buy because of your offer, your company, your brand, your testimonials. People buy states on both a surface and emotional level. So there's two kind of different ways. And you can also think of this as a end result on both a surface and emotional level. So put differently, the prospects will have a current situation on the surface and an emotional level behind that. So just to give you an example, also another one here is desired situations on a surface and emotional levels. So if someone's working 50 hours a week and they have essentially 2 goals. Their first goal is to spend as much time as possible with their family. Let's say this is a man who has 3 kids and a wife. And the wife also works full time. And so their one goal was to have a family. So they've done that. But their second goal was to have enough financial means to support the family and a great lifestyle. So their current situation is they are achieving one of their goals. They have their family, but it's not really what they wanted. It's not how they expected it to work out. They want to actually spend time with their kids and enjoy their life with good financial means. And they know to do that. And so far in their life, what they've done is they've traded time for money, constantly time for money. Well, there's only so many hours in a day that you can make money and spend time with your kids. And what happens is when people get in enough pain about their current situation on an emotional level, and it just pains them to not spend as much time with their kids, then they look to make a change. If there's a desired situation on the surface, but they don't have a family yet, but they really want to have a family and they're trying to set up in advance. So let's say this is a couple, husband and wife who don't have any kids yet, but they're working a ton and they know they do want to have kids, but they don't feel like they're ready yet because they're still working like dogs. What they'll do is, this is the second piece where they have such a strong desired situation and an outcome that they want that's building up that emotional level that is in the future. So future pacing. So this is an exact example of a person who's in pain, so a pain buyer, and a goal buyer. So there's 2 different types. When the path of least resistance from current situation to desired situation is your offer, the prospects will buy. Let's say you're selling an offer to learn e-com. And so for them, they know that if you buy your product, you'll teach them step-by-step XYZ with such a high conviction. And you've done this with hundreds of other students that are exactly like this couple, working like dogs. They want kids or working like dogs and they already have their 3 kids. And it's helped them not work as much. It's helped them be present with their kids, work from home. And so that is when prospects do buy. A good example of this is aspirin. So when you have a headache and you want to relieve that headache, you take an aspirin, Advil or Tylenol, and that helps relieve the headache. So people want that quick fix. And it's no different with careers and family time, and retirement. Same thing, coffee. You're groggy, tired, and productive, and that makes you alert and happy. So people are buying your outcome of your product. If you have an e-com product that is teaching them everything they need to know to get there in a very quick way too, that really escalates them wanting to do it right away. Because if let's assume it was back to prospect number one. So the wife real quick, before we continue the video, if this at all resonates with you and really interests you and you want to get into the industry, you're just confused on where to actually get a job, this whole industry runs on trust. Just trust. That's how it goes. So if you want to actually get a high performing job, make 10,000, 20,000, even 30,000 per month, like I did over the past 2 years, then click the link in the description and apply to join the team. We train and place over 30 reps every single month. Now we do cap it at 30 just because we really want to make sure to help you out once you're in the group. So with that being said, if that interests you, click the link down below, apply to join the team, and we'll see you on the inside. All right, let's get back to the wife and the husband who has 3 kids already. And let's say they've been doing this for like 10 years. Like they've missed out on so much of their kids' lives. Like it just pains them. They don't want to figure it out all by themselves because they've probably tried, they've probably failed. They want someone to help them exceed that process and really give them the quick fix to getting that level, to getting their goals achieved quickly. So understanding the emotional states. Prospects aren't only buying surface level destinations, they're buying emotional destinations as well. So it might seem like it's a real physical destination to be able to leave their job and do e-com full time, but it's mostly emotional. Being able to wake up whenever you want and hug your kids and them being happy that you can make breakfast for them and little pancakes in different shapes and favorite characters and cook bacon with them and take them swimming. So it's a lot different than just the actual product. We basically break these down into 6 categories. So these are Tony Robbins' 6 human needs. So certainty, variety, significance, growth, contribution, love, and connection. So certainty and significance are the 2 most powerful always. If you give them certainty that your product will help them achieve XYZ goals and that'll help them achieve their significance in life, which is being a present and active father and mother, being there for their kids. It's really hitting on both of those to be able to help their kids better grow into future successful adults, whatever it is for them. So those are really the 2 main 6 categories that we focus on. So understanding the internal pressure that people feel. We want to build a healthy tension on the call. So also called internal pressure with the prospect. This is different from external pressure. Basically, internal pressure being pressured to do something your own reasons, and then external pressure is being pressured to do something for someone else. Now, humans, and if you don't have any kids, that's okay, but with my daughter, I'm much more likely to push way harder for something for my daughter than I am for me. Because for me, I'm like, well, I could freaking sleep on the floor in like a blanket. But my daughter, I want her to have a very nice home, a very nice lifestyle, a very nice school to go to. So we'll do often a lot more for someone else than we will for ourselves. Internal pressure is for your own reasons, which are still very important. Like, don't get me wrong, but we won't push as hard most of the time. That's the way that humans are wired. Like, we'll do a lot more for our mom and our parents than we will for ourselves. If you don't have any kids, you might want to retire your mom or help her pay off her home or buy her a new house or just overall help the people that you love before you. So example of this is basically just a fast action discount and incentive-based pricing. So does this make these necessarily bad? No, you can be fine with both. The key is you want a healthy balance and never to have too much internal pressure. When you're making a fast action discount, let's say you drop the price on the prospect at the end of the call and you say it's going to be normally $6,000, but what we're doing, because we have a few spots left for XYZ event, it's actually $1,000 off. So instead of the $6K, it's actually $5K, and you still get access to everything for lifetime. So you want to just give them that little incentive to make sure it's good. Now, this does add a little bit of internal pressure with them, especially if they're on the edge. But as long as you've built up enough of the reasons why throughout the call and why they should ultimately want to change their life, they should sell themselves on that, which is self-solution selling, which is what we discussed in the previous course as well. So how to build that internal pressure. The more clearly you define current states versus desired states, which is known as the clearer the gap will be. Paint a crystal clear picture of what this goal looks like. Hell Island, current situation, versus Heaven Island, which is their desired situation. If we use it as an example, sticking on the same frame as e-com, for e-com, let's say they're working 50 hours a week and we got husband and wife. So together they're working 100 hours with the sports and then they have literally no energy left for each other, never mind their kids. You really want to get granular on what's happening in your life. How has that been affecting you? Has it been super tough on you and your husband? Oh yeah, it's been super tough. We've been barely spending any time together. Oh my gosh. So like, how do you even have time for your kids? And you're like, well, we really don't. Because by the time we clean the home and make the meals and get them ready for the next day, the day's already over. We already have no energy left over. Wow, that sounds really tough. How long have you been going through that? It's been years. Like, we've been doing this for years. And then you flip it to the actual heaven situation here. So Heaven Island. So let's fast forward a year. You get your e-com brand up and running. You're successful at this. You get making money. What would you do with your time once you're not working 50 hours a week? Oh man, that sounds amazing. Well, the first thing I would do is I'd make sure my wife's not working so then she can spend more time with the kids. And the second thing that I would do is once I don't have as much, or once I have income coming in, I would consider quitting my position once I hit XYZ. Okay, that's great. And so now that you don't have all this work to do, what would you actually do with your kids? Would you go traveling? Would you just bring them to the pool? What would you do? Oh, that's awesome. And what you want them to do is you want to get them dreaming about their actual life that they actually want. Because a lot of people will shove down their goals and desires so low that they'll basically forget about it. You want them to bring those up after they've talked about their pains and build their dream life. And then you're going to be the solution that's the gap that's going to help them achieve their dream scenario. The more the picture is crystal clear, the more you can see/feel the space in between. The prospect has a tendency to resolve this type of tension by shoving things down. So you got to bring it up to the surface and really paint it in detail. If the conversation is done properly, they'll do that through buying your offer because they know that that's the solution. And that's why we tell you, especially on this channel, that the actual sale is made in the discovery process. Discovering what are their goals, their pains. So what are the tips defining hell versus heaven island? You want to define each with a number of specific details. So current versus desired income, current versus desired weight. If it's a weight loss offer, current occupation, freedom level versus desired occupation, freedom level, and the hours that they work currently. What do they actually want to work? Listen, some people, they just want to frickin' sleep in. Like, it's not complicated. Like, they just don't want to wake up at 5 a.m. They've been doing construction for 15 years. They just want to freaking sleep in until like 8 and have a slow morning. They don't want to have the morning traffic. Like, that could be someone's goal that they want so desperately. And you're like, well, why do you want that goal? Well, because I want to just have a calming start to my day. And I just want to drink my coffee on the back deck. That's great. We want to paint that in vivid, like, would you make your coffee at home? Oh, that's great. Yeah, I like coffee too. You build that resemblance. But we want it crystal clear. And then their current relationship versus desired relationship if it's a dating offer, which is really big nowadays. If you can't use numbers, you have to elicit specific details. So think of having the prospect help to paint a crystal clear portrait in their mind of their dream life. Ask, what can you see, think, feel, touch, or smell? This will help them actually get into a state of being excited to dream again. A lot of kids dream as kids. Kids will have dreams and goals. And as soon as we hit the adult age, sometimes we just stop dreaming. We feel like we're stuck, and we're not. We can do anything we want, but it's important to remind the prospect of that. You're coaching them throughout this call. So ask them what the day looks like. Example of this is, take me back to the day when you drew the line in the sand and you decided it's time to move out of this 9-to-5 rat race. What was it like? What did you actually, what happened in that moment? Did your boss scream at you? Were you just like, you know what? I'm so sick of this. My car didn't start and I'm going back to my apartment that I hate. And I live over this, this full family of 6 and they're just stomping around. I can't sleep and I can't have a dog in my apartment because they don't allow it. Like, what was it like to finally hit that wall? They were like, you know what? I found your YouTube video and your YouTube video actually gave me hope that I could live a different life through doing e-commerce. And you're like, wow, I'm excited for you. You're at the right spot. This is what we do. We help people just like you really get out of this space that you're in. That sounds terrible. The living, your car, it sounds like you need just a whole life overhaul and it can't be done in the situation you're currently in. Does that sound right? Yep, they agree. Perfect. And so you really want to also talk them through what they just said to make sure that they know that you're listening. And then the most important piece is you want to become the only option to heaven. So once you elicit hell and heaven island, current versus desired situation, the prospect will want to take action. And if they're not, then you didn't do a good job on the actual call. Just because the prospect wants to take action doesn't mean they will take action with you. The key is to build the bridge that becomes the path of least resistance to destroy all other potential bridges. So now that we've got the prospect excited, they have a crappy apartment, crappy, car, it always breaks down and they hate being in traffic and they hate waking up early. and they just want to like live their life and get a good dog. Say, well, how long have you been feeling like this for? Oh, I've been feeling this for like 6 years. And you're like, oh my gosh, that's a long time, 6 years. So what's prevented you from making a change in that 6 years? And essentially there's two paths at this point. They can tell you, I've tried this, X, Y, Z, blah, 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 blah. And you have to figure out why those other things that they tried didn't work. It could have been, they've tried trading or they've tried different businesses that haven't worked. Like, what was the main thing that didn't work? Was it that you gave up on it? Was it that you ran out of money? Like, what was it? And the other potential way is that they just haven't tried. They were just too scared. And at that point, we really have to build up the belief in the prospect. So you have two jobs on a sales call. Understand if and how you can help the prospect. It requires understanding the current versus desired situation. Then the second job you have is to eliminate objections before the close. And you want to destroy the possibility before they even get there. And this is really where the pre-frame comes into practice. And I'm going to walk you through the objections as well. So stay tuned for that. So visual kindergarten, essentially, you want to paint hell in Heaven Island, clearly. You want to destroy all other options that they could take. And you want to harpoon the shark. Clearly choose your bridge is the safest, strongest, and fastest option to their goals. What people want is speed. That's what they want. Okay? If they're so sick and tired of being in their situation, they want speed. They will pay for speed. But if you paint it as, oh yeah, like I'm sure you could just do this on your own and it'll be very successful, they could do it on their own. How many people succeed on their own at something in their life, completely by themselves? No one. You always need team members. You always need a process, always. Because you physically can't do it alone. The biggest companies in the world have hundreds of thousands of employees. Like they do not do it alone. And so this is the first step to them achieving their goal is by actually getting a mentor that's already been through their problems and pains to help them build up. Next, we want to recap. So at this point, we know people buy end results, so states logically and emotionally. The more clearly we define current and desired situations, the more tension we create within the internal prospect. And then tensions will compel the prospect to take action. Number two is the way we get them to take action with us is understand if and how we can help them by building our bridge as our solution. Eliminate all objections before the close and destroy bad bridges and harpoon the sharks. That's it. The next step's this. So start covering how to do this on the phone call. And this is where we actually prevent self-solution selling into actually showing them how our solution sells. So how prospects come to the conclusion that working with you is the path of least resistance. I want a better car and I want a dog and ultimately I want to wake up at 8 a.m. and drink coffee on the porch. And so we have to figure out specific numbers. So how much would a new apartment be or a home? What is the dog that he wants? Okay. So when we're not saying, like in e-com, like we're going to teach you X, Y, Z, blah, 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 blah. We will go over that. Listen, we'll teach you the basics and the step-by-step to actually like launching your store and the website and the ads. But the most important piece is most of our students achieve X, Y, Z results. Now, based on what you're saying, it sounds like you can achieve all these goals within a good time frame, within this next like 4 to 12 months. Like, does this sound like what you were looking for? And they're like, oh, wow, that sounds great. So there are 7 beliefs that the prospects need to buy. When we build these beliefs before transitioning into our offer, we create an objection-less close. Remember, we want to make it super simple. Everything that I told you, Mr. Prospect, will hit your goals. So why wouldn't you want to do this? And so we've gone over every objection. We've seen what they've tried in the past, what they haven't tried, their fears, their goals, their pains. And so in the close, if they say, oh, well, I need to think about it. What do you need to think about? Oh, well, I'm just a little bit, scared. Are you scared of maybe that the program won't work for you, or is it the price? No, it's not the price. It's mainly I've just heard of these things online and I don't know if it actually works. Oh, it's the belief thing. And then you go through the belief objection. But in the actual pre-framing of the call, you should build up just so much belief in the product and service that they close themselves. So we'll cover what are the 7 beliefs, how to use Socratic dialogue to build them during the call, and then the different syntaxes, kind of like scripts, we use depending on what we sell. Okay, so with that being said, let's go jump into the next one, and you guys are doing great. Let's keep going. Okay, so the next one is the belief ladder and how we actually build belief in the prospects. Okay, there's 2 types of people essentially. There's someone who is hopeless and there's someone who is helpless. We cannot help out someone who's helpless. But we help out people who are hopeless all the time, achieve their goals and dreams. And it can be very scary to take that first step into the unknown, especially when someone's been in their comfort zone for many years or decades. So that's what we're going to discuss today is the belief ladder. Let's go and share the screen here. So the belief ladder, there are 7 beliefs that your prospects need to have to buy. This also means that there are only 7 reasons that the prospect has to say no and not buy. In other words, every objection can be tracked back to 7 different reasons of belief. This is very important because your belief as a salesperson is essentially these things. If someone ever comes to you and tells you, I can't do sales, that's total crap. Because there's only really 7 reasons why someone doesn't buy. And when you just practice those 7 reasons, and you reverse engineer them like we have and like I'll teach you, it's very simple to get these sales and to get your closing rate and make tens of thousands of dollars. So that's what we're going to discuss. Our goal is to build these 7 beliefs using skilled questions before we transition into our pitch, so that instead of convincing the prospect, they close themselves. This is also known as self-solution selling. Building the 7 beliefs also means you could be breaking down 7 limiting beliefs. Any script will work if it covers the 7 beliefs. And that's when you realize that sales is all essentially very similar. Real quick, before we continue the video, if this at all resonates with you and really interests you and you want to get into the industry, you're just confused on where to actually get a job, this whole industry runs on trust. Just trust. That's how it goes. So if you want to actually get a high performing job, make 10,000, 20,000, even 30,000 per month, like I did over the past 2 years, then click the link in the description and apply to join the team. We train and place over 30 reps every single month. Now we do cap it at 30 just because we really want to make sure to help you out once you're in the group. So with that being said, if that interests you, click the link down below, apply to join the team, and we'll see you on the inside. All right, let's get back to it. Very similar with how we do it. We ask good questions, we get good answers, and then that's how we can ultimately find the pain points and the goals and sell the prospect. Understanding them gives us extreme flexibility on the calls and helps us navigate without getting lost. If you ever get lost on the sales call, you go back to the framework. Where are you on the framework one? So here are the 7 beliefs. We have pain, doubt, cost, desire, money, support, and trust. Those are the only 7. Now, pain. The prospect must believe that they have a problem keeping them from getting what they want. If you're on a call with someone and they tell you, yeah, everything's good, you know, I can't complain, my life's fine. That's just not true. They would not have booked the call if they didn't have something they wanted to solve. And just think about this in a logical way. Look at your life right now. Do you have things that you want to get better at? Of course, we all do. We all have pain in our lives. It's just about figuring out which pain we're currently tackling and what goals we feel lackluster on. Another way to look at it with the pain side, and we'll get into the goal in a second, but have you ever said, you know, once I buy my home, once I pay off my car, I'm going to be happy because that's my goal. And as soon as you buy your home and pay off your car, the goalpost just moves. Now you want a nicer home and a nicer car. This is how humans work. We consistently want more. And so it's impossible that they are just fine. So keep that in mind. If there is no problem, there is no sale. Business is about solving problems, and we are solving problems for the prospect. This is why we always start off the call by trying to find the problem first, and then we go into goals. We find the problem, mark X, put in our shovel in the ground, and start digging to find the deep pain points on that problem. The entire conversation is about the problem and how that problem has caused a lot of pain for the prospect. Pain can also be thought as the gap between the current and desired situation. Sometimes the prospect is unaware completely that they even have a problem. So we want to establish what they want and what's keeping them from getting it. So this is more of someone who isn't problem aware. So they might have come in on an ad, and let's use an example of someone who's getting into the YouTube space, who they want to film YouTube videos. They might say, oh yeah, well, I need more leads from my YouTube videos. And you're like, no, 100%. But how do you get more leads? And they're like, I don't know. And you're like, well, you need more viewers. You need more of a following. You need more influence over those viewers to then have more leads. And so what they want is more leads. But what's keeping them from getting it is actually fixing their content and their strategy. So that's someone who isn't as problem aware. Now that might sound simple, me telling it to you now, but this happens all the time. It really does. And we just don't know it. If someone's going to go buy a car and they say, you know, I want a really nice, like just fuel efficient car. And they're like, how many kids do you have? And you're like, 8. And you're like, well, that's fine. That might be your goal. We can find you the best version of a fuel efficient car, but it sounds like you need something that can hold a lot of passengers. And they're like, oh, that's true. So let's find the best of both worlds. But the goal isn't necessarily solving your pain. Like if we get you a small little car that's the best on fuel, it's not even going to fit half your family. You have 8 kids. If the problem is not elicited, they will not see the value and need for the investment because they don't understand how you can help. Now, this is the biggest thing. If someone is on a call with you and they're like this, and we get off the call, because good closers understand this, that if we can't help someone, we'll let them know, hey, we can't help you. Jump off the call. You can't explain how you can help someone if they don't know the problem or the gap. And then pain establishes you as the trusted authority who can lead them to fix their problem. What I mean by this is when you're on the call with someone and they're just trying to sell you no matter what, it has a really bad feeling to it, as opposed to someone saying, we only help out XYZ prospect. If you don't fit in this category, we cannot help you. It doesn't matter what you need. We only help out this little niche. Now, this is going to give tremendous confidence in that prospect that you only help out this niche of person. And I can't explain to you how important that is, because, at my house, if someone's coming over and they're saying, oh yeah, I'm a window person. I change windows because I recently got my windows changed. And you're like, oh, perfect. And I can also help you with like renovating the home. You're like, whoa, I thought you just said you were a window person. Now that makes me less confident that you do windows well, because you're saying you do all of this. And landscaping and renovations are much different than just windows. Like, it's a totally different industry. Like, it takes a long time for someone to master one industry. So we want to give actual trusted authority by letting them know that this is the problem. That we fix this freaking problem well, and we do this well. We don't do all the rest of the crap. We do this well. So what you're saying is you want this in your life, and this is what we can help you fix. The prospect must believe that they cannot fix the problem on their own, or attempting to do so would waste unnecessary resources, so time and money, given other avenues. So this is very, very important. Go back to the window example. I'm sure you could spend all your weekends and your evenings after work, and you could figure out how to freaking switch, 48 windows from basement, main floor, top level. I'm sure you could figure that out. I'm sure you're smart enough. But how much time is that going to take you? It's probably going to take you 6 months. Have you ever tried to go to Home Depot and actually order custom windows? Oh yeah, it's a pain in the butt. And sometimes you get them, then I got to figure out all the tools that I need to fix it if it's just slightly off, and then all the stuff to caulk it, and all the ladders and the danger and blah, blah, blah. Okay, so how long do you think that would take? Oh man, easily 6 to 9 months for sure. Oh my gosh. So you would spend 6 to 9 months of your life every weekend and after work in the evenings, instead of spending time with your family doing that. Yeah, actually, now that you say it, that doesn't make a lot of sense. Okay, cool. Have you tried that in the past? Yeah, I tried doing renos. How did that go? It went horribly wrong. So what we're doing is we're instilling doubt by just using their own personal experience. Listen, Mrs. Prospect, you're probably not an expert in this field because you don't do this all day, and that's fine. That's why you're coming to us, and this is what we do. So this is getting them into the buying pocket. So this eliminates the DIY ego objection, which is super crucial because it's going to go into other things as well, which we're going to cover soon. Sometimes doubt is already there, and sometimes you have to build it up just so it doesn't actually come into play. This is what we do by establishing their pain points and how bad they want the result and how quickly it can actually change their life is the easiest way to get through this. Don't try to create doubt when it's already present. So just lean on it. We don't want to sit here for 5-10 minutes if they're yeah, I'm just scared to do it on my own and I want your help. Say, perfect, you come to the right spot and keep moving on. Cost. The prospect must believe that doing nothing is far more painful than the investment in time and money to fix the problem. This eliminates time objections and creates urgency. Remember, natural urgency is super important with the prospect. They're creating their own urgency. And if they say no to you, they're going to go to bed every single night for weeks, as long as you did a good job on that call. And they're going to remember that conversation you had where they're like, no, I'm going to do it myself. And a month later, nothing has changed. They didn't change because it's very hard for people to change, never mind be very committed to something for a long time without your help. Okay, desire. So the prospect must believe solving the problem and the gap would yield better future situations. So getting to Heaven Island. Typically, we want to know what they want, why they want what they want, a number assigned to what they want, and how getting what they want would impact another area of their life. So widening that gap even more. So we're going to go through an example. Let's say you're on a fitness offer. I sold for fitness for a little bit. A better body, maybe more mobility to play with their grandchildren. What they want is in general to look better to the public. So let's use they want to look better because they want they want more appeal. Maybe it's a single guy, so they just want to look better. Why do you want to look better? Oh, because I went through divorce 5 years ago, and I realized over that 20-year marriage how much I let my body go, and I realized just how far off I am. So over the past 5 years, I've been trying and I've been working out and I've been trying the keto, all this diet, and it just hasn't been working. And I really want just a better looking body. I understand I'm not young, but I want that good looking body. Okay, what would that do for you if you're able to have that nicer body? Now, in this situation, there's not going to be a number assigned to it just yet, but we're going to go through it. Oh, wow. Yeah. I mean, I think it'll help with dating and overall just my confidence level at the workplace, but most importantly in dating to be able to find, my next husband or wife. How many pounds do you currently weigh? I weigh 205. Okay, great. And how tall are you? I'm this tall. Okay, so you're definitely a little overweight. What would it have to be in terms of weight loss for you to feel that confidence come back again? I would have to lose 30 pounds. Perfect. Okay, so now we got the number out of them, and that's a very clear situation. And it might sound weird at first to ask someone how much they weigh, how tall they are, how much weight they want to lose, but this is crucial to hitting the sale. 30 pounds is not just a shy number. It takes work, and it takes the proper things to get to that spot. And then how getting what they want would impact another area of their life. Wow. So that's great. So let's fast forward, 6 to 9 months. You've lost that 30 pounds. You're on a healthier journey. You're more mobile, and you just feel better at the workplace and dating. How would that affect your life going into day to day? Oh, I feel so much better. I would start, buying different clothes in my wardrobe and upgrading my life and realizing that I can do it. And I would go on more dates. I'd feel more confident on those dates. Wow, that sounds amazing. And so now we put them in that buying pocket where they're ready. They've looked at their sucky situation and we've brought them to that point mentally where we've painted that picture very clearly with them to show them what is possible. Okay, money. This is a strong one, obviously, because this is high ticket. So it's going to feel a little weird at first pitching high ticket products, but you realize that the belief that the prospect has in resources and willingness to solve their problem. If they don't have resources, that's a condition, not an objection. If they don't have the willingness to do your program, it goes back to not having the actual value to go over the cost, okay? People buy when there's more value than cost. During extreme situations, it's often best to leave their belief to the end. More often than not, if I get the other 6 beliefs and I leave this to the end, I will close if they actually have the money. Now, this is very true because in the financial resource world, there's a line that I learned at door to door, and the line was, if they ask you how much it is, there's a number in their head that they're thinking, if it was this much, I would buy it. I'm going to give you a solution. So you knock on a door, someone says, I have no money. I don't care what you're saying. I don't have any money. So you can freaking talk to me all day long. I don't care. I'm not going to buy it. I have no money. That person's being truthful. They have no money. They're telling you up front they don't freaking care what you have. And I'll give you a flip side. This is a second example. You knock on someone's door, they answer the door, and they're entertaining it. And then they say, well, how much is it? What they're saying by that is, I had a price in mind that I thought this would be. Now, as a salesperson, our job is to close that gap. So maybe there's a product we can offer that's 300, that's stretching outside of the 100 zone, but that's where the solutions come into play. Now, we can't help out everyone, but their willingness to buy is clearly proven. They booked a call with you. Now, if this is a homeless person, whatever, you get off the call. But this is why I always leave this one to the end, because you're actually going to find out if they have financial resources throughout the call by figuring out what they do for work. And if there's little subtle signs that they give you where they're like, well, I'm really worried if I can't afford this because I have a ton of debt or this and that, then you kind of dig into it. But this is one where when you drop the price at the end, it's going to be scary. Even to someone who has millions of dollars in the bank, it's going to be a scary topic. So we always leave that till the end. The support. So the belief that people around them, spouse, partner, usually, will support them in fixing the problem. This is very crucial, and we're going to walk you through a line how to do this. This prevents spouse/partner objections. Okay, so in the actual pre-frame of the call, we've gone through the pain and we've gone through the goal as well. So we've learned that, let's use that same weight loss example, but let's use it in the way that this person's married. So the wife is coming to us and says, yeah, I want to lose 30 pounds. I weigh 205. I want to get down to 175. You're like, wow, that's a great goal. It's so fantastic. And does your husband support you in getting the resources to actually hit that goal? Does your husband support you in getting the mentorship with us to hit that goal? Oh, yeah. Yeah, my husband definitely supports it. Yeah, I'm sure he's going to look forward to you losing 30 pounds too and having that nice body, hey? And they're like, yeah, no, for sure. You're like, cool. Well, yeah, maybe don't word it like that if don't word it like that if they're, anyways. But what we want to do in that situation is make sure that their spouse has buy-in. Now, this does a couple things. If you have someone who is looking like they're going to use the spouse objection, you can dig one step deeper. You can say, okay, does your husband support you in getting the mentorship for this? And they're like, yes, he supports me. If you want and you're worried about this prospect having a little bit more friction at the end with spouse, you can say, And does your husband have to be here for you to make the decision whether to do this or not? And they know exactly what you mean when you say this. They know exactly what you mean. And you want to ask it very, very clearly to them. Does your husband have to be here for you to make a money decision? That's what you're saying. And when they say no, he doesn't have to be here, then you reinforce it by saying, yeah, you probably wear the pants around the house, right? And they're like, yeah, I wear the pants around the house. I make these type of decisions. You're like, okay, cool, yeah. And you kind of want to laugh it off because they know what you're doing and you just want to make sure that they're committed, especially in this phase. Next, we'll go on to trust. So do they see your solution as clearly different, unique, and superior to similar models they have tried in the past? In this fitness mentorship, we're going to use the same example. This woman has been for 5 years trying keto diet, fasting, intermittent fasting, has been trying walking 10,000 steps a day, going to the gym daily, getting a personal trainer, all this stuff, and nothing's worked. And we want to talk about how our solution is different. So we can be using a metabolic diet. We can be using, resetting your hormones with XYZ, scenario and how this helps you lose fat without having to train and overtrain. And what you want to do is eliminate, I've burned before objection, which is essentially what we're getting to, because we want to position this as a good marketing as this is different. And we help out people just like you who have tried all these things in the past. And that's why I'm so grateful you came to us, because we are actually able to help you this time where you feel like you're not getting burned and you probably spent money on the past, right? And they're like, yeah. And you're like, how much money have you spent in the past? And they're like, on everything, probably like 20 grand. Workout clothes, equipment, personal trainers, food, custom meal plans, all that stuff. And you're like, wow, that's a lot. And you're like, are you ready to take the next step and actually try out something different, but that's actually going to work? And they're like, yeah, I am. I've been trying for 5 years. Let's do it. And that's where you get them into the commitment phase. But are they bought into your method of what success looks like? So there's essentially 2 sales here. There's a sale on the product. So in the fitness example, the method would be actually having basically a fitness journey and going through and following a program. On the product end, you would say, well, this is different because this is a metabolic reset of your system. We're literally fixing your hormones. Like the way that your metabolics used to be when you were 20, you used to be able to eat junk food and you used to be able to do this. But just like you said, after having your kids, it didn't quite reset back to that. And you've had a hard time, especially since like menopause and blah, blah, blah. And so those are the 2 separate sales. So you want them to be bought in on spending the time on your program. So for this, you can ask her, hey, well, are you actually ready to commit 2 hours a week towards changing your fitness journey? Yes. Okay, perfect. And are you ready to try out something new? Yes. Okay, so those are the 2 things we have to make sure. Because if they don't believe the product works, then yeah, they can dedicate 2 hours, but they need to believe the product actually works. And this is marketing that's done beforehand. So what you're doing is you're pointing to some of the testimonies and a lot of the different process on what they've been sold already on the marketing aspect, either on an ad or on a YouTube video. So an example of this would be ClickFunnels. The key to online business success is creating a profitable, scalable funnel. The only way you can do that is through ClickFunnels. It's in the name. It's really good. And they've been around for a long time. Obviously, we use a little bit of a different one. We don't use ClickFunnels, we use GHL now, but great pitch there. They buy in on the method is your pitch. So that's the pre-marketing. So for the ClickFunnels example, it's essentially saying, listen, to have a successful online business, this is just the next step. And when you're on a call with someone, they'll say, yeah, like this makes sense. This is the next step. How we build the beliefs, okay? So this is a Socratic dialogue. Think of the beliefs like a checklist. If we check all the boxes before the close, chances they buy are high. We build these beliefs through Socratic dialogue. For our purposes, Socratic dialogue is basically asking skilled questions to help the prospect come to the conclusion they want to on their own. It's their own idea. We aren't forcing an idea on them, because even if you sell them, they're not going to follow through. Like, we actually want to help out people with our product. The consistency bias is when prospects express that they hold the 7 beliefs that they're also telling themselves, the highest driver of human behavior equals being consistent. So influenced by Robert Cialdini, using Socratic dialogue with the belief ladder makes it feel incongruent for the prospect not to move forward, creates a objection-less close, which is what we want. Most great closers, while they can handle objections, most of their closes are either objection-less or about logistics, so payment plans, timing, etc., which is not necessarily what you can't always handle those beforehand. So the reason they do everything before the close the right way to eliminate all those other objections. Okay, so executing on the sales call. We're going to execute this tactically on a sales call. Sales process at a high level with slight adjustments for lifestyle offers, so fitness and dating, coaching, consulting offers, or professional services like an agency helping you with ads. Executing the belief ladder. So Socratic dialogue is done through discovery. You can cover the 7 beliefs in any order as long as you cover them in discovery. There are 2 primary syntaxes here. For doing it quickly and effectively, we have problems first syntax. So this is essentially going through, hey, nice to meet you. You go through the intro and then you go straight to the problem. Okay, so walk me through what you've tried in the past for fitness and where you're currently at. They're going to give you, basically you want it to be open-ended so then they could drive the conversation. Then you could use those points of the problems on where to go. The other way to do it is your goals. Say, perfect, like the goal of this call is just to figure out, where you're at and where you want to be and see if we can help you out. So kind of walk me through what you actually want to achieve in your fitness journey. I can see on the pre-call here, you named XYZ. So kind of walk me through that. What's your goals? I preferred the problems first most times, but if someone starts talking about their goals first, then that's the way that we go. You'll learn both and know which is based on your offer or prospect. So both offers, like sometimes you'll sell on an offer where it'll be pretty much all problems first prospects. And some offers you'll sell on, it'll be more of a dream, basically sale and marketing. And so it just depends on your offer. But the main thing to consider here is focus on always pushing the prospect towards the pain first. This is how you make a lot more sales. And I'm good at building up the dream as well, but you really want to push them towards the pain and make sure they articulate what the pain is. The sooner they get that pain out, the longer they have to sit with it on the call with you. And then they'll bring out their goals. And then, so now they're sitting with both their pain and their goals. And they're like, man, what the heck? Like, I want to achieve this pain. I want to achieve my goals so bad. And that's when you present your offer as the gap. Hopefully that helps. You guys are doing great. And let's keep going to the next one, which is the setter crash course in depth. I'll see you there. All right. Great job, everyone. Now we're going to move on to the setter crash course where we're going to go through mostly this position is where most entry-level salespeople will actually start off in. And it's setting appointments, outreach, and getting those commissions for the salespeople. And then you get a percentage of it. If you do great as a setter, then you're going to move up to a closer. So let's go ahead and jump into that. So let's go ahead and jump into it. This is the overview of kind of where we're at. We've gone through the different contexts of triage calls and how to really build trust and emphasis on that. And then for new high ticket sales reps, focusing on 100% triage training. So role playing, breaking that down. So this is where we are currently. We're going to go through the triage call script. Now, what is an actual setter? A setter is someone who contacts outbound leads, people who haven't booked a call, and to generate more revenue for the business. Think of this as it has more at-bats. A closer might only have 5 to 10 calls a day. Usually 8 is the average amount of calls per day. A setter might do 100 to maybe even 200 outbounds a day. And it's to make sure you're practicing, getting used to that industry, as well as making sure that you're actually a good fit for the company. It's a lot less of a risk for them to try you out as a setter and then promote you to a closer if you do good. Okay. Obviously, a closer has a lot less at-bats, usually 8 per day. So they want people who are really dialed in. So here's the triage process. Rapport and frame. So if it's a set triage, mini discovery, full understanding of the problem and their current situation. So you're going to do like a little mini call with them, probing questions, background questions, and then need to pay off questions, and then understanding their actual goal. So you could type that out, let them know for the closer and just prime them. You're going to transition. You're going to sell the consult first. So you're not selling the product as a closer. You're selling the meeting that you're going to have with the closer. And then you're booking and confirming them, qualifying, and then avoiding, can you help me out? More the inferior frame of like getting all their questions answered on the call. You're going to sell them on the actual one-on-one with the closer. So that's what we're going to go through. The first one is rapport. So like, here's a very simple way. Hey, is this Tyler? Tyler's like, yeah. Hey, this is Jonathan. What's up? Awesome. Yeah, I actually just reaching out from XYZ company. Been having a good week so far. Like, you just want it to be a very general, like free-flowing conversation. And I put a couple examples there. You really just want to talk to them as if they're a friend. There's a lot of cold calls and scam calls nowadays. We're just talking like a friend. Hey, I saw you put some information in the VSL or this lead magnet. Just wondering, like, are you still interested in that? Like, just very, very general. Awesome. Let's set up this call real quick. So I'd really like to get you as much help as I can and possibly see if I can squeeze out a short amount of time set aside for you with one of our top product advisors. To do this, I found the best approach is just to get a quick idea of where you're at, what your goals are, and then where you need the most help right now. And that's kind of the frame of it. Remember, this is mostly just like a 5 to 10 minute quick call. Shouldn't really take too long. Based on that, I can hook you up with an actual content relevant to your business and your struggles. Does that sound good? They're like, perfect. So they know this isn't going to take forever. There's a goal to this and it's nice and easy. So here's the discovery probing questions that you're going to ask. So when you're on the phone with someone, we're not going super in depth. We want to make sure to grasp enough information to make sure they qualify and make sure this is a good fit. So you want to do probing questions about some of their pain and some of their goals. You want to see their background, chunking down to the most important pieces on what we can help with. So let's say if it's like a trading offer, we want to make sure that they're already trading, what have they tried with trading, and then what they're struggling with most right now. And then the need to pay off. This mirrors the understanding the problem section from one of our first weeks here in the course, which will be the next course that you watch. So this mirrors the understanding the problem section. So you want to make sure when they're saying something to you, you're mirroring that. Make sure you understand it. Pretty simple. So the first question, gotcha. So what do you think is your biggest challenge right now? Based on that, then you can compare to something that's helpful. So, wow, that sounds like a big problem. Like you're losing a lot of money with these trades. What do you think is actually going on? They say, well, you know what? The market's kind of effed up right now. And seems like Trump just comes out online and says a bunch of stuff and it messes up the market. Yeah, I mean, that's super frustrating too, because all of our students are experiencing the same thing, but they're still doing really good. So what is it about the market fluctuations that's making you not do good? Is it mainly the entries? Is it the exits? Oh yeah, it's definitely the entries. I don't know when I'm entering and I'm too busy at work to sit there all day and get to know this. Okay, cool. So just to get that context, what do you mean by this? And so this is the type of things that you really want to get to. So what are you actually selling? What's the offer? What is the price point? Just so you know who's, like, if you're selling a $10,000 product and you're talking to someone who has like a $10,000 portfolio, like it's going to be a hard sell. And your closer is probably going to be frustrated with you because you're going to be wasting their time. Now, if you have a $2,000, $3,000 product, yeah, still try it. But this is where, as a seller, you get to actually know your offer and know the company you're working for. So then as you transition to a closer, potentially, you're able to understand the way that these calls work. Who's your ideal client? So the top 1%. And then what's the sales process? So when a stranger becomes a paying client, you start to see patterns. Someone who's picking up the phone saying, yeah, these are my problems. This is what I need help with. And you say, perfect. That's actually what we help out with. What I'd like to do is suggest that you book a call with one of our product specialists. They're going to walk you through exactly what we do and if we can help you in particular. So these are some of the probing questions I'd ask to get there. Tell me more. What do you mean when you say you have a hard time XYZ when the market drops? Is it mainly this and that? And you want to have multiple follow-up questions. The surface level problem that a lot of these setters get into is, and I've heard lots of these calls, is they'll say, oh, well, what's your biggest goal? And then the person will say, oh, I want to make money consistently. And they're like, okay, yeah, cool. And what's your biggest problem? Oh, well, I'm not making money consistently. Oh, yeah, no, it makes sense. It's like, it's so shallow. You have to make sure to dig really deep. Like, it's going to get a bit uncomfortable, but that's how you build trust, is getting to those vulnerabilities. Why would you say that that's your biggest challenge when the market drops where you're losing money? How has that impacted your business specifically? You know, has that affected your lifestyle, your thought process? How else has it affected your business? Now, obviously, we're not using a business example here, but you see how it's very interchangeable. Then here's where we chunk down. So lead generation. How are you currently generating leads? Is it organic, referrals? Last month, how many appointments did you have with your new potential clients? The month before? Okay, so about 2 to 3 this past month. Is that kind of what you wanted? How many of those are actually perfect clients for what you do? Out of those, how many did you enroll into actual paying clients? What's your closing percentage? At this price point, is that what you actually want to charge? Okay, so for 6K total revenue in the past 2 months, or is that like total revenue overall? 5K last month, gross, net. So these are some of the questions. Now, if we use this for a trading offer, what are some questions we can ask? Okay, so last year, what would you say your average profit is? Is it 10%? Is it 15%? Is it 40%? Oh, wow, you did 20%. That's awesome. Okay, and then when the market's in a bear market, what would you say your average profit is? Oh, it's terrible. It's like negative 40%. Okay, so it seems like the problem isn't making money during the positive markets. It's losing money during the bear markets. Does that sound right? Yeah. Okay, that's fair. And how many years has this been going on for? Oh, my whole trading career. Yeah, like the past 10 years. Oh, wow, that sounds really brutal. So then if you had to decide like a perfect number for you to make, what would you ideally want to make per month consistently in a bear market and a bull market? Well, about 5% a month. That's pretty realistic. Wow, that's a great goal. Yeah, that's fantastic. And are you trading with an IRA or are you trading within just a normal cash account? I'm trading in both. I have some portfolios here. Okay. And are you using any margin or is it just cash? And you can see how we're chunking down into this. And we can do this for every niche. AI, we can do it for fitness, every single niche. But you can see how the questions don't necessarily change that much. All right, the need to pay off. So ultimately, if you get this lead gen figured out, what's the goal for your company? To continue probing as needed. So a good rule of thumb that I would use, especially on my calls, is if I felt like I asked enough questions, I would ask at least 10 more because chances are you probably need to dig a little deeper than you think. And so a good move with this was typically it would take me between 15 to 18 minutes to ask all the questions with the pre-call, going through bridging the gap and all that stuff. So if I would look at the clock and I would see it's only been like 8 minutes, I knew I had probably another 5 to 10 minutes to go to make sure I got all the information I needed and to build the dream within the client. So we don't move until full context of the problem is understood. If you feel like it's getting awkward, just loop back to something they said and go at it at a different angle. Why the problem is the problem. So impact and the implications of if they don't fix that and what has happened over the past XYZ years of them dealing with this problem. This has to be touched on. We do not move forward unless we have a clear picture of these two things. Specific numbers assigned to the problem. So revenue, goals per month, per year, in few years, what it's been like the past month, 2 years, 3 years. So we go in that way, basically both ways, positives and negatives, both in days, months, years, and weeks. And then goals are established, crystal clear goals established, I should say, because we really want to make sure that all 4 of these things are touched on and are really, really dug into. Like, I can't stress this enough. If you feel like you haven't asked enough questions, just stop, look down at your piece of paper, your notepad that you've been writing notes on. If you don't write notes, definitely write notes. I don't know why you shouldn't, but write it down. You're going to have a lot of calls in a day. It's going to help you keep track of everything. And on that piece of paper, you look at the different pain sections and see if there's something that's unclear. Like, you should be able to literally verbatim say the prospect's problem, like back to them and like understand it in clarity, like more than them. Because that's what makes someone feel really heard and understood is when you could say confidently, I know you're dealing with this and it sucks. And I talk to people all day, just like in your position. I'm so glad you came to us because we help out people just like you. So you're at the right spot and I'm so excited for you. So you're flipping that problem into a really good thing. Okay, transition. Now we transition. So awesome. I have a training that's definitely helped. Okay, so with the transition, essentially what we're doing is we're repeating what they said to us and we're making sure that we fully understand. If there's any last little bits, then they'll add them in. So what we're saying is, okay, so basically just let me know if I understand this correctly. What you said is X, Y, Z, A, B, C, D, D, D. Does that all sound right? And they're going to say, yes. Okay, perfect. And then you're going to go into qualifying. Okay. So John has a short form. Okay, so now we're going to qualify them and we're going to see their experience with the actual influencer. So how long have you been actually following the influencer for? Oh, I've been following him for 6 months and I really enjoy his content. I saw one of his ads. Oh, perfect. What's the biggest problem you need help with right now? Your goal is XYZ. How does leadership structure work in your company? On a scale of 1 to 10, where do you feel financially? Now, this is a really good one just to see where they're at, if they're comfortable with their finances, if they're just worried they don't have enough for the future. And what does that mean for you to hit that financial goal? And then the time also. So we really want to, so I'll highlight these ones. So these are the most important ones. So we want to figure out where they're at financially, just so they know, like at the end of the call, if they're like, oh, I can't afford this. We know if they're BSing and they're just a little scared, which is okay. Everyone's going to be a little scared with the price. And then what does hitting that goal mean for you? What would that mean for you? So we really want to build up that dream in their head. And then we want to hit the actual hours per week to make sure they're successful. Okay, so you might think this is stupid to ask because actually a lot of people on the offer that I was on for trading offer, it was actually really funny because we would ask people, I would say, hey, do you have an hour a week to do this? And some people would tell me no. They're like, no, I don't. And I'm like, okay, then we just can't help you. And they're like, oh, whoa, why not? And I'm like, you're telling me in a week you don't have 1 hour, a single hour. And they're like, well, I guess I do. And I'm like, well, guessing you do and having an hour is different. I'm like, I want to make sure before we move forward that you have an hour. If you don't have an hour, we can't help you. And I give them context. This is the thing. Give them context. I say, we have people who work in the oil fields that work like 100 hours a week to have an hour. We have teachers that are also a mom of like 5 kids that also have an hour. And you give them several examples of people that are super busy, way busier than them. And you say, so based on what you're saying, you're working 40 hours a week, you're married, but you don't have any kids. Do you feel like you could make an hour work? And you want to be in a certain tone of saying, listen, don't waste my time. We're literally sitting on a phone call for 30 minutes, 30 to 45 minutes. And so you have an hour clearly. And so this is about them valuing their goals. If they don't value their goals, they're not going to actually put time aside. We all make time for what's very, very important to us, to put time aside. Okay, so do you have 3 to 4 hours, 4 to 5 hours per week bandwidth to implement these frameworks? In trading, you could say, do you have an hour per week to actually implement these trading styles and punch in the trade alerts once you get them? Oh, but I'm a little worried. I have a $300,000 portfolio. Perfect. Well, what we can do is we can just safely say that you'll need probably 3 hours, an hour per 100,000. Do you have 3 hours to do? Maybe on your lunch breaks, maybe on your after work, you can do all the research component. Oh yeah, that should be fine. Yeah, perfect. So there's those little commitments throughout the call that are actually committing in a subtle way. Okay, here's the outbound call script. Double dial cadence. So call, no answer, put down the phone, and then immediately call again. There's so many spam calls that when you get double dial, it means that it's probably someone that has to reach you, okay? If no answer on the second call, then we leave a voicemail, text, and email. Something letting them know, hey Tyler, this is Jonathan from XYZ company. I just tried to call you, I didn't reach you, but I know you don't have my number saved. So just want to let you know, call me back. I have something important to share with you. So you want to just get them on the phone. An outbound call would look sort of like that. Hey, this is my name. This is John calling about the $47. Okay, so the outbound call and the free opt-ins are pretty similar. So as a setter, an outbound call is just a contact you receive maybe from a lead form on Facebook. Then there's a free opt-in. So on the free opt-in, let's say it's a Manny chat from Instagram. So someone did an Instagram post. They said, comment down below, resource, and I'll send over the resource. And then in that, to get the resource, they have to type in their email, name, and phone number. So a setter's going to get that list. And this is the free opt-ins call. So it'd say, hey, this is Jonathan. So, hey, John, calling from the ultimate guide to hiring A-player sales reps to downloaded from John's team. Just making sure you had access to it. Emails are kind of crazy these days, and sometimes they go to, the spam folder. So it's just a very curious and helpful tone. Not sure if you read the landing page, but it also included the training from one of John's paid master classes, masterminds. Has anyone reached out to you about it? No one has. The reason you didn't get it immediately, tons of stuff. We wanted to make sure it was relevant to you. Is this something I can get you? So is that something that I could get you? Is that something you'd be interested in? Something like that? Gotcha. So what's the biggest challenge right now based on your XYZ business? Based on that, I can pair you with something helpful and then we can go through it. Does that sound good? So essentially you're just coming off on the first 2-3 lines as very helpful, making sure they receive the email. And then what you're going to do is make sure to transition in. Oh, we didn't send you the mastermind info, but is that something that you've heard about? I'm just very open-ended. Oh yeah, I have heard about it. I'm just a little curious about what I would need to actually be good at that. Here's the voicemail. So text, voicemail, email script. Hey John, or hey Tyler, this is John with ABC Company. Do you remember the free resource product you got from us? The reason I called is it doesn't look like you got one of the bonuses that you actually purchased or that we were giving. Private clients training to one of our influencers, high-end masterminds. Can you confirm? So this just gets them responding in a very clear way. This is an ultimate, hey Tyler, this is John from XYZ Company. Did you just purchase the product? Let me know. I have 2 seconds. Just want to make sure everything's taken care of. So in each way, you just want to make sure it's a nice conversational tone. You also want to make sure that you're coming across as a helpful individual that's representing the company, that you're happy to do a service to them. Because essentially what sales is, you're offering a service to them and you're helping people step out of their comfort zone. And so if they bought a small little product or if they didn't opt in, it doesn't mean they're 100% interested, but it means once you do those 100 to 200 dials a day, you're going to find 3 to 5 people who are willing to book an appointment with a closer. And that's where you as a setter will make your commission. Most times setter commissions between 3 to 5% of any sale. So if you get $100,000 in new cash per month, then you obviously get $3,000 to $5,000, but usually they have a base as well on some offers. Okay. Hopefully that helped. You guys are doing great. Let's go over to the closer training now to set up that. As a closer, one of the most important things to remember is you have to nail it 30% of the time. For most companies, that is the base closing rate. Some companies are a little less, 25%, but as your skill increases, as long as you're on a good offer, to be honest, it should go higher. My closing rate some months was 80%, which sounds crazy, but we were getting so many products that we were reselling to people and upgrading them that, it just compounds so quick. Okay. So we're going to go through the crash course today on exactly how to master being a closer. So let's go ahead and jump into that. So what we're going to cover is really just the introduction, information gathering, transition, pitch, committing phase, and objections. How to master being a closer. Call introduction is very simple. Now, on the start of the call, usually it's Zoom calls. Sometimes it's going to be phone calls, depending on what offer you're on. the biggest thing we want to set up is just making sure to build that very quick rapport within the first 2 minutes. So they see you see them, unless it's a phone call, and you just want to have a nice chill intro. Hey, how's it going? It's going good. Great. Where are you calling from today? How's your week been? Oh, wow, that's awesome. And now people might think it's stupid to ask this, and some people are like, don't ask this, but you're like, wow, how is it over there in Atlanta? Is winter over yet, or is it still kind of sticking around? You're like, oh man, it's still sticking around. It's a little cold. You're like, man, it's just got to go away once and for all. But anyways, I'm super happy to be speaking today. My name is Jonathan. I'm calling from XYZ company. And then you want to go into the frame. So the frame is essentially building the actual structure for the call. Have you ever been on a call with someone and someone basically says, oh yeah, like how's it going? Good. Where are you from? And you're just doing this like back and forth thing. And then there's never like a moment in the video. If this at all resonates with you and really interests you and you want to get into the industry, you're just confused on where to actually get a job. This whole industry runs on trust, just trust. That's how it goes. So if you want to actually get a high performing job, make 10,000, 20,000, even 30,000 per month, like I did over the past 2 years, then click the link in the description and apply to join the team. We train and place over 30 reps every single month. Now we do cap it at 30 just because we really want to make sure to help you out once you're in the group. So with that being said, if that interests you, click the link down below, apply to join the team, and we'll see you on the inside. All right, let's get back to it. And then there's never like a moment where they're like, all right, we're going to jump into it. We're going to start. This is our goal. It's a little weird because the whole call you're wondering like, does this person like not have anything else they want to do? Like it seems they're a little relaxed. So you want to set the frame. So here's a couple examples. Gotcha. So what I found works best on these calls is first diving deeper into your business and the sales process, how that's been going right now, and ultimately what you feel are the specific challenges keeping you from moving forward. Once we get clarity there, if I can help you, I'm happy to walk you through that or wherever you want to go. If not, we can figure out whatever else is best. Maybe refer you to someone else, give you homework, whatever you need. Does that sound cool? Cool. With that being said, probably our best place to start is just tell me the biggest challenge with your sales right now. It's not working at the level you want to be, or you just want to leave it open-ended. We'll give you another example. We'll use the fitness industry. For fitness, you'd say, okay, well, yeah, my name is Jonathan. Typically, I found these calls work best is we just go through your path, see what you've tried, see kind of where you're at. And then if we can help you out, just because we can't help out everyone, we'll walk you through how we actually transform people by helping them lose weight, get on a better diet, and change their entire life with their body. Does that sound fair with you? Cool. So just kind of walk me through where you're currently at. Another example could be a trading offer. You could say, hey, this is Jonathan, super happy to be on the call with you. Just typically before we jump in, how we do these calls is very simple. We just walk you through. We just want to get to know you a bit better, see where you're at with your trading, see how that's been going. I know the market's been super choppy. And then if we're able to help you out, we'll go through the mentorship. We're not able to help out everyone, so we just want to make sure it's a good fit on both sides. That sound good for you? Perfect. Nice. And then we jump into the discovery is where the money's made. It is where you should spend the largest amount of time to avoid the objections, get to the... It's cool because they're doing most of the talking. They're doing like 70 to 80% of the talking. So the flow is very simple. Isolate the challenge. Once they share with you, the biggest challenge for me right now in my business is not getting enough leads. You can say, okay, tell me more about that. Well, the problem is we're not getting enough leads. And then what's happening is then our fulfillment side isn't busy enough. So I feel like we're wasting salary and then blah, blah, blah. Okay. And how long have you been feeling that way? Oh, it's been a few years. And how has that been on you? Oh, it's been super hard because it causes all these cash flow issues and blah, blah, blah. What do you mean by that exactly? Cash flow issues. So we're constantly probing for just a little bit more info on the back end of every sentence. Okay. So this will lead us to their desired situation once we're done going through the pain. So you say, gotcha. So let's start with the end in mind. What's your actual goal with how many leads you want? And this puts someone in a really interesting position because usually they haven't been asked these very direct questions on their business. Because if they talk to their partner or their friends, like there's so much to unpack. Like a lot of times you're not going to go this granular on their business. So by you saying, tell me more, it sounds really important to you. It's like one of the first times that these people have actually heard someone care about their company. And it's the truth. Like I care about the prospects that I talk to because I want to see them in a better spot and a better space, which is why I love the education space. But we can't help them if they don't have these problems that they're dealing with. It's very important to really learn about them. So these are some of the other desired questions to ask for to get to that outcome. You seem to have thought through that number before. Why did you pick that number? How much would you need to replace your full-time income? Is that ultimately the goal? Or just to transition out of that? Is replacing enough to leave? So is replacing your six-figure income enough to leave? Or would you need to walk out the door with 2 weeks notice? How's your business been impacted with COVID? Overall, what's your long-term vision for your business? And then you can probe again, and then you can get really deep. So can I ask you a personal question? My goal is not just building you wealth, but helping you live the lifestyle you want. What non-monetary personal goal does your business need to enable that? Okay. Here's some current situation questions. So if you're having a hard time, these questions are interchangeable. It doesn't matter the exact industry. What do you currently do full time? Do you like doing that? If not, probing pain questions. What's the worst part? Take me back to the day you said enough was enough. How long have you done it? And why would you start this now? Okay, so now we want to ask the doubt and solution questions. Okay, so this is absolutely massive. When I was on the trading offer, I mean, it was fantastic asking these questions because they're going through their goals and desires. And then you just ask me like, why wouldn't you just try this? And it's like one of the most simple things. Like it's not something complicated. Like if you were selling a fitness offer, you'd say like, why haven't you tried just counting your calories and making sure that you're not in a deficit? And they're like, that's just something so obvious. It really questions them being able to make the proper decisions going forward to get to a successful point. So what's been your biggest challenge right now starting this on your own? Have you reached out to anyone for help? Or are you working with anyone right now? Are you considering other coaches? Have you ever done coaching before? So you just want to ask it a very curious way. And here's the support questions. Are you married? Oh, nice. You are married. Wow. It's a long time to be married. What does your spouse think about the transition to you being a full-time business owner? Are they supportive of you getting a mentorship to help you be successful at this? Do they know you're on this call? And my favorite one for spouses is asking, okay, cool. Well, do you think your spouse would have to be on the call for you to make the decision to either do this or not? Oh, no, she doesn't have to be here. I'm the one who makes these decisions. Perfect. Okay. So you really want that buy-in. And here's the transition. We want to review where we're at in the process. So look, I don't feel like I have any other questions. Is there anything else you think I should know about you? Well, John, based on what you told me, we can definitely help you. And I'm so glad you came to us for XYZ reasons because we help people just like you. We're sick and tired of living under control of their boss and the other corporations. They just want to do their own thing. Now, that said, where do you think we should go from here? I can walk you through the entire process A to Z of how we'd help to get you to XYZ outcome. But you tell me, where would you like to go from here? And so we want to make sure that it's always the prospect's idea on what to do next because you want them to be involved in the process, okay? Obviously, you want to go through the pitch, but you want them to be fully bought in and we go into the pitch. Here are the high-level promise. Gotcha. Have that pen and paper out. Okay, so write down 1 to 4 with space in between, and we're going to go through everything. So everything I do is customized for the client, for you. Now, this is important. It's 4 steps to go from zero to $1 million, to go from where you're at 205 pounds to 175 pounds, to go from inconsistent trading profits to consistent. The first step is this. The second step is this. Third step is this. Fourth step is this. The reason why we break it down, some people only do 3 steps. And I recommend if you're not doing a business offer or like an AI offer, if you're doing more of just a normal like biz op offer, or fitness offer, I recommend that you just do 3. The reason why is 3 pillars are so easy for someone to remember. Most people, when they get off the call, especially with a closer, you might have had a longer conversation with them, 30 minutes to an hour. There's a lot of information that they received and they want to remember 3 things. These are the 3 things that all of our students do to be successful. It's very simple, okay? And we teach them, this is how we bridge the gap between where you're at and where you want to be. So you make it compelling, new and different from what prospects have heard. It separates you from your competition. It may increase pricing with less work, more family time. Do you have any questions on that? What do you think about it? So once you do these 3 things, you'll achieve your goal. Okay, sweet. Here's the second step. Here's the third step and the fourth step. So you're going to walk through your mentorship and exactly what you sell. And don't get too worried about being in the weeds on that because this process you can use for each offer. It's just going to change about the content, what you actually deliver. Okay, here's the delivery. You get lifetime access to the training platform. So you train with current, future people. We have 2 live calls every week and you have 1 one-on-one access call per month. The one-on-one call lasts for 6 months. So you have access for basically half a year. And then you also get the full training course as well. So very simple. Training course twice a week, one-on-ones to make sure you hit your goals. The training course is going to teach you step-by-step how to do it. The coaching calls are going to guide you each week. And that one-on-one is to make sure granularly that you can make sure your situation gets tailored every month for success. Very simple. Here's the committing phase. Now, if they're like, man, this sounds freaking sick. I love this. Perfect. It is sick. You want to get a temperature check on them. Great. What are your thoughts on it? They're like, wow, this sounds amazing. Great. Where would you like to take it from here? Well, this all sounds great, but how much does it cost? Great question. So just before I go into the cost, sounds like this is pretty much exactly what you're looking for, XYZ to hit your goals. So you're just recapping again. Because once you say the price, they're not going to hear anything. They're going to be focused on the price. Gotcha. Feel good? No questions? Where do you want to go from here? So we just went through that. So the process is pretty simple for the investment. Here's the baseline. So typically it's 6K. Right now we have a little discount going on for the month of April, and it drops it down to 5K. Now that's for everything for a lifetime. You just want to do silence. First person that speaks here loses. You probably heard that before. You break it down, and then we go into objections pacing. As long as you did the call correct, you went through like deep pain points. There's only really 2 objections that you could get, which is logistics. So making sure that they actually have the money. And then you could get the price objection since you didn't go through that. But the price objection you can go through, you can potentially do a price drop, all that stuff. There's a lot of different ways to go about it. The only objection that I think is like a really valid one is like transferring money. And even then you could do a deposit close to at least get something to make sure they're committed. And people who are fine to do a deposit, like they're pretty committed. But here's the objection pacing. Step 1, pace and tie down the objection. This is also known as secluding it and isolating it. No problem. So let's pretend money was out of the equation. How do you feel about the process? Is this what you need to get to XYZ? Oh yeah, for sure. Yep. It's mainly just the money. Okay, perfect. And you can go through. Okay. So with the money, I mean, how much did you think it would cost? Oh, I thought it'd be like $3,000. Okay, yeah. Because it sounds like you've done coaching before and you paid $2,000 for that other coaching package, blah, blah, blah. Did you get what you wanted from those coaching? No, I didn't. It was still missing XYZ. Right. Exactly. And that's really what we're doing here today is to get you those results. It does take a different process and we're doing something completely different. And that's why we charge the price. So with that being said, based on what you said with hitting your goals of retiring early, hitting these business goals, stopping working for other people, and this is the next step forward. So what do you say? Give it a shot? I think you'll love it and you'll be a great student. What was the best email you'd like for me to get you started with? And just nice and easy. Option number 1 is no money or partner. So how versus should. Option number 2 is money/partner objection. So you want to isolate it. And then outcome. So double tie down, isolate, money, spouse, handle uncertainty. So most times after you have overcome the money objection, someone will say, well, I got to talk to my wife about it. And this is why it's so important early in the call to make sure you ask this question, because you can say, oh, yeah, that's totally fine. You can talk to your spouse. But remember you said a little earlier that you're typically the one that makes these decisions. So, I mean, is it mainly like the price, or do you feel like the program isn't like for you? And you just want to go back to that because it's usually one of those 2, trust and trust. Like that's pretty much what it is. Like if you were telling someone, if you pay $5,000 today, you'll make $1 million over the next year. People would say, oh yeah, I would do that. Now, if you were to flip it and you say, if you find a way to pay me $150,000 right now, you'll make $1 million next year. So you'll make $850,000 profit. People would still be like, well, I'm down, but like now there's a bit more intricacy. So that's what's happening in the prospect's brain is they're just scared and they're just trying to put roadblocks in front of you because they're stepping out of your comfort zone. And that's ultimately your job as a salesperson is to bring them to a point where they're comfortable being uncomfortable. Okay, step number 2.5 is the scale of 1 to 10. So I don't love using this, but if the prospect's not bought in, you can just say, okay, so thanks for that. And honestly, like, can I be super direct with you? Can I be honest with you? You said 9 out of 10 on the process, getting you to your goals. Now you seem less certain than that. Like based on me talking to you, it seems like you're just a little scared. Like what is it mainly that's scaring you? Like what's going on? And you really just want to level with them. Just talk to them like a human. And you just want to say, hey, like there's something you're not sharing with me and I need you to share that with me. As a salesperson, your goal is to get to the bottom of it, to get to a decision on these calls. And so that is what we do throughout this entire course is to show you how to actually get someone to a decision. Even if they say no, that's okay. You're going to have more people say no than yes. But those few people that say yes, keep the economy rolling, keep these companies going, and they make you a ton of money. If you guys enjoyed this, make sure to leave a like and subscribe, and make sure to actually watch the next training course that I'm releasing very soon. And with that being said, we'll see you guys later. Peace. You did it. You made it. And I'm so proud of you for watching this whole video from start to finish. It is a great first step in getting into the sales world and being a high ticket remote closer. If you haven't already, make sure to like and subscribe to the channel. But most importantly, if you made all the way to the end, it shows that you're dedicated and you're taking this seriously. If you wrote notes during the video with a pen and paper and you're actually ready to take action, the fastest and easiest way to get into this industry is by joining my team where we place, high ticket setters and closers into companies every single day. We cap it at 30 per month that we train in place. So if that sounds like you and you're ready to actually take the next step to completely change your life, then click the link down below, book a call with my team, and make sure to come ready and presentable, because we only work with the very, very best. And so if we believe in you, we will let you know, and we want you on the team.